Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the match of Super Rugby Pacific, the New Zealand derby between the Blues and the Hurricanes. We're only moments away from the kickoff. It is 19 degrees in Auckland at the moment with 15 kilometres of wind, so I would say it's going to be a free-flowing, fast game of rugby, although these two sides, they're both desperate to get themselves the win. Hurricanes sitting outside of that top six, the Blues sitting in second last with a lot of ground to climb if they want to get back towards, yet again, another Super Rugby title. But the Hurricanes just now making their way out of the tunnel. They have had 2 wins in a row. Their last loss was to Moana Pacifica. Of course, got themselves another win up against the Waratahs just recently. In terms of what is to come, some important games just around the corner for these two teams. Looking at the chat, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Says Sean, and also we were there up the Canes, says Chad Baker, and let's go yellow, says Shane. And there as well, but looking through at the teams, the Blues in the starting lineup will be Josh Fusitua, Kurt Eklund, Marcel Renata, Patrick Tuipulotu, and Josh Berry. They are the locks, Anton Segner, Dalton Papali, and Hoskins Satutu in that number 8 jersey. Now, since Satutu has returned from his injury, we haven't seen a huge amount of him. He needs a massive contest here, definitely when you look at who the Hurricanes have in that loose forward trio. Finley Christie and Bowden Barrett will be the 19 combo. The Blues, they are just showing on a 3-match losing streak at this current point in time. But this backline have to make the difference. AJ Lamb alongside Rico Ioane in the midfield, Caleb Clark, Mark Delia, and Corey Evans at number 15. But for the Hurricanes, they have got Xavier Numia, Asafo Moore, and Tyrell Lomax as the front row. Caleb Delaney and Isaiah Walker-Leawiri in the locking duo with Braden Yossi, Duplessis Karefi, and Peter Lakai there as the number 8. Now, the Blues have actually opted to wear their Spider-Man kit again. I'm not 100% sure why, but there must be a reason behind it. Cam Roigard and Riley Hohepa will be the 19 combination. Peter Umanga Jensen alongside Balin Sullivan. Then Kenny Naholo, Natu Nandi Punivai, and Ruben Love at number 15. We have got the high there. I was at with the sevens. Why are the Blues wearing Spider-Man again? I can't remember. Were they at home or away for their Spider-Man game in the kids' round? If they were away, maybe it makes sense if they'd wear it again at home. The Hurricanes, they are wearing the classic black. The sevens in, my bloody internet went down right at the end. So South Africa did lose that contest to GB 38 points to 10. So it was a bit of a one-sided affair between those two sides. But we are just about to get underway for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Angus Gardner blows the whistle. And we're underway for another match of Super Rugby Pacific. And about the worst possible start for Balin Sullivan. It goes straight through his hands and he ends up dropping the ball. Now the Blues are in possession. Bit of a high shot from Peter Umanga Jensen. Pulled out of it. But no advantage there. Only 13 seconds in, or already we've seen a couple errors coming from the Canes. Aussie Moana Pacifica won their game. They certainly did. Down by 14 at halftime to go on to score 38 points in the second half. To make the difference. Is Will Jordan playing? He was playing earlier on in the Crusaders Fiji and Drua game. There is a forward pass from the Blues, and the Hurricanes have got themselves a scrum. And we have got the Hurricanes are going to win, says Chad. An evening, brother Hamish. Hope you are well, mate. All here. Cool, no worries, says Birdie V. Yeah, doing well. We've had a couple games run a little bit longer than they were supposed to already for today, which is why we were a couple minutes late for this one. But we made it by kickoff. That's the main thing. I have a jam-packed, or I like a jam-packed sports weekend. Thanks for covering the games, Hamish. Says Andy, how many teams go through to the playoffs? Because of the 11 teams in Super Rugby, it means that there's only going to be 6. If you're referring to the sevens, though, only the top 4 sides go through. The top of each group. Pack weight's 912 kgs for the Blues, 907 kgs of the Hurricanes. And it's going to be a big push from the home side, but Canes will still have possession. Peter Umanga Jensen. Tackled by Dalton Papali'i. Very good afternoon, Hamish. Just cracked a Blue V energy drink. And yes, go the Blues. At a back, make seating or sitting on that dreadful chair. Or how's the back? Yeah, it's going all right so far. But see how it's feeling at the end of the weekend. It's going to be kicked up high. Down towards the halfway line. Corey Evans not able to claim it cleanly. And Caleb Clark also fumbling the ball, so it means that the Hurricanes have got it. Balin Sullivan almost dropping it again. Might be a bit slipperier out there than first anticipated. Either that or Sullivan has got butter on the fingers before making his way on, but he's taken that one nicely and decides against taking it quickly. We have got their Hatmish. Who do you think will win? I honestly couldn't tell you. Like, this one, I can't pick who's going to actually take it. Like, the Blues should win, but the Hurricanes also, form-wise, should win. But the Blues eventually have to find a good game. And surely it's coming soon. Beauden Barrett tries to find his way through the gap. Finley Christie goes off to Peter Umaga Jensen. Peter Lakai picking on Christie there. Making him a bit slow to get back up. You're on time, Hamish, no worries. Says Moantas. Now 25 metres out from the line. Christie slips over. Yeah, I think it's a little bit slippery underfoot. Maybe with the ball in hand too. Marcel Renata goes off to Josh Fusitua. Captain Paddy back in the mix. He will make a huge difference for the Blues, or at least he should. But the penalty goes the way of the Hurricanes. No clear release. Isaiah Walker, Leo Wiri getting over the ball. Does win the penalty for his side forward. Says in a light. 75 matches, so he's a quarter of the way to the century. He's only scored 2 tries throughout his career. That surprises me a little bit. A big man like that in the locking duo, I would have thought would have a few more chances near the goal line. 7 points to 5 for the USA. Will Jordan isn't playing okay. Says it's Sean. Though he did play early. He had a pretty decent game for the Crusaders at the back. Him and his Tasman Mako teammates, particularly Macca Springer, linking up quite nicely. Now Safwa Moore with the line-out throw, sitting 35 metres out from their own line. Nicely taken by Caleb Delaney. Trying to get this maul going forward. It's currently shuffling sideways. Anton Segner told to get out of that one. He's dropped by Kurt Eklund as I walk a Leo Witty there. And the maul is still moving. Now told to use it. Cam Roygaard kicks it high off his left. Chasing after this one. Beauden Barrett runs on but does drop it forward. Here comes Asafua Moore. Tackled by Tui Polotu. Ball bounces out. And they'll go back for the original Beauden knock on. Crusaders vs Moana was a shocker. 48-28 I think. Says Chad and Kane's to win. Says Rock and Barrett closed his eyes. Says in a light. Yeah, he knew that he was going to be in for an aerial contest with Natunani Punivai. To look away from it, he's had 160 matches in his career, 45 tries, and 1,470 points taken. That's a tackle in the year. It was a contest in the year, which Beauden Barrett did unfortunately drop that ball. But Natunani Punivai had just as much chance of catching that ball as Beauden Barrett did. Now Cam Roygaard, ready to put this ball in. The last 5 games, 4 of which have gone in favour of the Blues. Roygaard now going off to the left-hand side. Nice sniping run from Cam Roygaard. Moves up to 20 or so metres out from the line. Keep it up, Hurricanes, says Ilaria. Now Peter Umaga Jensen, tackled by Christie. Roygaard again goes off to Dupla Sikarefi, sits down Corey Evans. The Canes got a lot of momentum, looked like a knock-on from Roygaard there. Referee does call it. And they'll go back for the scrum as Will Jordan playing. Says Broncos for life. He was earlier on in the game up against the Fijian Roa. Are people asking about Will Jordan because of the red kit of the Blues, perhaps? Maybe that's where the confusion's coming in. They see the red, they think it's the Crusaders. But no, the Blues are just Spider-Man. 12 points to 7. New Zealand, says Kiwi Rob. And up the wires, says Chad. They've got a bye this week, don't they? If I am correct. Got the most line breaks of any halfback in the comp. Cam Roygaard, they have just said. Very impressive skills. Is Tom Holland playing? I don't believe so. The problem is, if he was, he might have the mask on and we wouldn't know. We've got some guys with headgears on, so Tui Polotu could be Spider-Man, perhaps. Blues have to stop giving the Blues, says Thorfinn. USA down to 5 players, says Kiwi Rob. Was it yellow cards or red cards? I'd assume yellows, but Could be wrong. Will Jordan is in the Crusaders. Says Ilaria, he certainly is. We have the score, and it says the Blues versus Hurricanes. But you have this. That's true, but if they're watching the game themselves, perhaps, might be the confusion. A yellow, says Kiwi Rob. Now, Safwa Moore sitting 42 metres out from the Blues line, who have found themselves doing a bit more defending throughout the start of this match. Peter Umaga Jensen going up for it. Knocks it back onto the side of the Hurricanes. Both men competitive for the ball. They've both been told to leave it, but who does that actually lead to having the ball? It will be Finley Christie. And that makes sense. Says Chad, and that one's gone out on the full from Finley Christie here. And I'll tell you what, the Blues crowd, I'm not sure what the exact numbers would be, but a lot of empty seats at Eden Park there. And you wonder whether or not that is because of the start to the season that the Blues have had. Gone from being the champions last year to now sitting second last. And Barrett has a lot of haters. I still rate him high. It's just an expectation, comes with a lot of pressure, and we all crack under consistent pressure eventually, unfortunately, as well. Jordan playing. He is not, no. But he did play earlier in the contest. Am I correct in saying that Spazza Dazza is the one who does the Rugby League Live stuff? I think I'm subscribed to your channel, aren't I? If I'm correct. I could be wrong. I'll have a look. Is it? Yeah, it is. I popped into a live stream a little while ago. And Try Time New Zealand says Kiwi Rob, and Finley Christie has a beard. Says Chad Bay, it looks like he's been growing it out. It's this game in Wellington, their hometown. It is in Auckland for this match. It's Hamish playing, the guy who sometimes does YouTube commentary. Says James. Empty seats have voted. Says in a light, but Riley Hoihepa, he will have the opportunity to add 3 points here after the penalty does go the way of the Hurricanes. Sitting 4 from 6 this year, accuracy of 67%, or at least that was last week up against the Waratahs. Why are people saying Will Jordan? Says Bazadaza. I'm not actually sure, if I'm being completely honest. Oh, that one's missed by a mile for Riley Hoihepa. 17 points to 7 at halftime for New Zealand over the USA. Can I have a shout out? Chad Loves Cricket is my channel. Do you have any videos on the channel, Chad? Or is that just your channel name? Do let me know. Is that the worst kick in history? Definitely not. There have been a lot worse than that. But it definitely wasn't his cleanest strike ever, Riley Hoihepa. Safwa Moore now, though. Throw that ball in nicely, taken. Roy Guard goes off to Riley Hoihepa. Umaga Jensen hits it up. Mark Talia right next to the breakdown. He wants to go for the turnover somewhere along the lines by the looks of it. Now he retreats back out onto the wing. You haven't subscribed to my channel, says Stuart. It's Will Jordan playing, says Broncos for live, and I'll take an average backline behind a great pack, or a great backline with a bad pack all day, says Mark Kiwi. Now Braden Yossi. Around the side of the breakdown, tackled by Josh Berry. Duplessis Griffey goes off to Peter Umaga Jensen. Riley Hoihepa. Can't go through as Colin Meads playing tonight, says Jason. SME doing cricket shots in the backyard and all my Black Cap shirts, says Chad. I might have to give it a look. Oh, dropped by Yossi. It's possible Hurricanes more than 26 total points, says Jess Singh. Hard to say is the best way of describing it. Like, I don't even have a score prediction for this game, let alone how many points each team are going to get. It's a very unpredictable contest. I don't have any preferences here. Up the Chiefs, says time to meet your maker. Nice attack and run from Ruben Love, playing in the number 15 jersey for this game. Roy Guard looked like he might have knocked that one on, but it will be play on for now. Braden Yossi, tackled by Ioane. Hurricanes, they have had a lot of the ball, but if they're unable to add points onto the board, you're in that scenario of, like, all you've done is just run and run and run. And yes, it might wear them down eventually, but you have to get a try eventually. However, there, do you got a score prediction for next game because you ain't streaming? I think that the Highlanders should be competitive up against the Force, but every once in a while the Force go well. So the Highlanders were just hoping it's, or will be hoping that it's not their game. Canes 13 plus. Did I see Dan Carter playing? Says Mark there. Now a little kick in behind. And it goes into touch. About 5 metres out from the line now for the Blues. And we have got there, is there a chance Blitzbox can come back? Do they completely fluff it against GB? Unfortunately for GB, for the Blitzbox, the only way for them to win, I believe, is if they get the bonus point up against, or if they win up against South Africa by a massive margin, and then also GB have to lose. It's actually really hard. I don't know whether or not they can actually get there, if I'm being honest. Like, there's probably a technicality of if they win their next game by 50 points and everyone else loses by a certain margin, but, like, it's going to take a lot for them to qualify. New Zealand versus Fiji will be a spicy game. Certainly will be. We will be doing that one on the channel. Joining Morgan correctly, penalty going against Tyrell Lomax, and the TMO's coming out. Oh, they're checking the actions of Patrick Tuipulotu in the breakdown. Shoulder to head contact. This does not sound good for Big Paddy. Right, we're going to see it now. Tuipulotu. Yeah, it's not a good shot from Tuipulotu. He's an experienced guy, and he's shown right there that he was aiming at Isaiah Walker-Leaweri's head. It was in the rolling maul. He was off to the side, and yeah, that was intent from Tuipulotu. I think this is going to be a yellow card at least. A great channel, first time commenting. Pressure's on the Blues to produce a win. Thank you very much, Laurie, for being here. Which is greatly appreciated. Shoulder to the head. This is going to be a yellow card, and that will put even more pressure on them now. And go the Canes. They can win this, says Simon. And off, says Stewart. But Tuipulotu, he will make his way from the field. And they're going to wait to see whether or not he is able to make his way back out onto the field as the TMO has a big decision. Like they've said, Isaiah Walker-Leaweri slightly falling down, but I think the biggest problem is Tuipulotu's eyes were firmly focused on exactly where he wanted to hit, and that was, yeah, and don't, Hamish, it says something bad. Says Spazadaza. Wait, the channel or the name pronunciation? Now 5 metres out from the line, Asafwa Moore. Nicely taken by Caleb Delaney. A rolling ball. It's not really go. Oh, no, now it's going somewhere. It's fallen forward. The name says Spazadaza. And Blues versus Canes is just who can get the most cards at this point. And that's going to be now a Blues scrum. After it has collapsed from the Hurricanes, they weren't able to clear the ball. At the moment, Patrick Tuipulotu still has another 9 minutes of waiting to find out whether or not he is allowed back in this game. We mentioned about how he'll have an impact in this game, but if he gets a red card, it might be the wrong kind of impact. And no, it's not Stuart Moore. Says Kiwi Rob. Well, it didn't look good. So what would you say were the mitigating factors, Kiwi Rob? You'd say because Isaiah Walker-Leaweri was slightly lowered, maybe. There wasn't an arm wrap hugely from Tuipulotu. You could argue that the arm slapped around after he hit him in the head. First time here, mum and daughter, supporter for the Canes. How can we watch somewhere? So the only real option is through those regular broadcasters. So you've got like Sky Sport here in New Zealand. The highlights will be up on YouTube afterwards, but Stan Sport also have the game. So if you have a VPN, you could set yourself to Australia and then try the free trial of Stan Sport and you'd be able to watch the game, but you can only do that once. Another word for saying the hub. Says Broncos for life. Patrick pulled out. Did he? I mean, he might have pulled out slightly after he made the connection, but he still hit Isaiah Walker-Leaweri in the head. So I think you're still in agreement it was at least still a yellow though, aren't you, Kiwi Rob? There's no way you're trying to deny the 10 minutes off the field. Crusaders at number 2. Where does it put these two teams, says Ed Smith, as well Jordan coming off the bench tonight. Shoulder to head, says Stuart Moore. It's going to be overthrown by the Blues. Now Kurt Eklund kicking the ball down the middle of the field. Canes lost a man, says Rock. They did not know. The Blues did. Losing Patrick Tuipulotu put up. Nicely taken by Corey Evans. It's tackled by Ruben Love just inside of Blues territory. First real attacking chance here for the Blues with Rico Ioane. Don't, says Spazadeza. Not good enough from Captain Paddy. Set a good example and show good sportsmanship, says James. Good run from Bowden Barrett. That's what he said, says Si. Which part? The don't part or shoulder to head? Maybe. Now Barrett trying to find a way through. Ioane goes on the outside to Situtu. Still playing under advantage. Finley Christie milks that penalty. They already had one. Now Caleb Clark, 10 metres out from the line. This will be really disheartening for the Hurricanes. If they've gone 15 minutes all-out attack, just to then end up conceding when they're up a man. Situtu, though, has dropped the ball. And they'll go back. Try time New Zealand. So they're looking relatively secure in their match by the sounds of it. Let's all promise to never post Will Jordan's name ever again on Kiwi Lads. I mean, we can 100% post it when he's playing. And also, I mean, it's a free chat. You guys can write anything. It's probably my fault for continuing to read it out, but that's just what ends up happening. We have there, my brother is on the Sky Go, but we'll listen here for now, thanks. Says Nikita. Yeah, Sky Go is a great option for it. And normally for the playoff games of Super Rugby, they do actually add some sort of like package deal for Sky, which might be one to watch out for. Type like this. Chad loves cricket. Says Chad. Cheerfully celibate due to being ugly. Says Shane. And what? Says Chad. And that's the Blues season, dropping balls. But Bowden Barrett now with a chance of lining up a kick here. And the yellow card will stay for Patrick Tuipulotu. So a bit of good news for the Blues. And that's going to make the score 3 points to 0. But that's massive. The fact that the Hurricanes, like I said, they've had chances and they haven't got any points. And at this stage, okay, the reason it's staying a yellow card is because Isaiah Walker-Leawiri was falling down. Yeah, there was certainly no pull-out though, but what they've said was that it was the height was the factor rather than Patrick pulling out. I can't believe it says in a light. I have Steve Borthwick. I've heard Steve Borthwick has been talking to Hoskins, and Hoskins wants to play for England at the next World Cup. Well, he's not getting selected for the ABs lately, so if he's eligible, he might as well go. Although I think he's going to be doing bloody well to take Ben Earl out of that starting lineup for the English, so he may end up as a bench warmer. And now going off to the side here, nice step from Balin Sullivan. And the ball's popped out on the side of the Blues, but Natunani Punivai manages to take it straight back, penalty advantage in favour of the Canes. New Zealand win 29 points to 14. Yeah, finally some points on the board. Passed out to Kini Naholo. Accelerating, pops the ball up to Umanga Jensen, but they'll go back for the initial advantage. Will Jordan, guys, name means, says Shane. Do you have teeth whitening? Your teeth are so white. It's the lighting, I swear. Like, it's just because I got the lights. Like, it's also probably why I am quite pale, to be fair. But it's probably why I look more pale as Will Jordan playing. Do you know what the funny thing is? No one asked that during the Crusaders Fijian draw match. And I feel like it's going to be the most asked question on this one. Is there a lot of games next week? Quite a few. Champions Cup quarterfinals, Challenge Cup quarterfinals, and alongside that, we've also got the Super Rugby matches also happening. No. Now line out for Safwa Moore, 5 metres out from the line once again, opting to go aggressive here for the Hurricanes. Definitely when the Blues were missing their main jumper, and Tuipulotu almost broke away there from the maul for the Hurricanes. There's going to be an advantage. Peter Lakai over the line, and the Hurricanes now, as we pass a quarter in this match, does get the try. What did it show up when you typed up Chad loves cricket? That's some great marketing, Chad, in terms of You've seen the situation and you've gone, oh, opportunity. But the first try of the match does go the way of Peter Lakai and the Hurricanes. It was going to be always a bit of a tough one for the Blues to be able to defend, but to their credit, they haven't gone awfully. And we look at the Canes. He is in Crusaders, not the Hurricanes. He's trolling now, says time to meet your mother. And MotoGP is next week. I actually don't watch a lot of the Moto. Oh, hang on. They're going to be checking this one to see whether or not there was the truck and trailer. Okay, there were two players for the Hurricanes in front, which have caused some obstruction. Truck and trailer, says Kiwi Rob. Yep, I think this one's going to be taken away. Yeah, so Braden Yossi, Duplessis, Karifi, I believe are the ones who have been regarded as in front. I almost said it's Sean Johnson playing, but Will Jordan. The Hurricane, says Patrick. Angus checking the price for Diesel. So yeah, it does look like it's going to be a no try here for Peter Lakai. Okay, so there's disconnection in that rolling maul. It's going to be no try, and the Blues will still lead after 21 minutes, but it's still going to be a penalty to the Hurricanes, as they already did have that advantage. And win or lose, Blues till the end, says James. But now, Riley Hohepa again is going to kick this one towards the touchline. Why South Africa 7's doing so badly? They got a red card early on in that one, and from there they just never got back into it. WF, was that a stupid review? Says Rock. But now, Safwa Moore throws this ball in, nicely claimed by the Hurricanes yet again. Xavier Numia trying to go over the top of Papali'i. We're still yet to see a try scored in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Dalton Papali'i looks broken. He's had a couple big shots, or a couple big guys running at him already in this match, but he's trying his best. It's just the biggest problem. This is going to sound harsh, and it's going to sound probably what they heard last year, right? But the problem with Dalton Papali'i at the moment, like you've also got Signer who does well, but Papali'i is almost doing two people's jobs on defense, his and Satutu's. There's a lot of breakdowns. If you watch closely, Satutu just sits at the back. And he's given away a penalty there, Hoskins Satutu. I think that was possibly for offside. Yes, it was going around the side of the breakdown. Pretty cynical from Satutu. But a lot of the times when it comes to a jackling opportunity, it's Papali'i who has to go in for it. And then he has to get back out and then join that next breakdown as well. So he's getting worked off his feet. And he does every single game. So it's probably understandable why he's looking tired. Watching the cricket at the same time as this. They miss a Kiriwani. Sam Derry. The Blues lack depth, says Demon. Yeah, Kiriwani, don't get me wrong, at times he got criticised, but he was still physical in those breakdowns and at least causing problems. Hoskins is rampaging on attack though. Makes up for it, says James. Yeah, he does extremely well with the ball in hand, but it's just when there's no ball in hand, like Dalton's just tired, man. He's just doing everything. Signer's working hard though as well, which is great to see. Anton is very overrated. He's not back enough. Says Damon, it's Blackadder playing. Tui Pelotu back from the yellow card. The score now 3-3. I would say Blues have won the first 20 minutes by far. Agree? I would say no. I'd say that, well, that's the thing. It depends on what you're looking at. Hurricanes have had a lot more of the ball and a lot more chances, but the Blues have defended it. So, like, you know, for that reason, like, you'd have to give them a lot of credit for that first 20. But I think their lack of attacking chances will make them a bit of maybe concern for the second half. I'm watching the rugby, but listening to Hamish instead. But Hamish, can you be funny? I'll try. I mean, it's hard to say jokes on the fly. You know, there's a lot of pressure, definitely for commentary. That's offside from the Canes, says Kiwi Rob. Now, Finley Christie around the side of the breakdown, goes to Dalton. Papali'i again. Oh, Finley Christie yelling at his teammates going, get out, or something along those lines is what he said. I think he was trying to get a little bit of width. Now the ball is there still just for the Blues, although the Hurricanes almost able to get the turnover. Satutu plays halfback, pops it up to Josh Berry. Pick and drive. Says Blues no. Where is everyone? Too many things to watch here. There's multiple sports on at the moment. The Black Caps are playing. Also at this stage, there is going to be the advantage now in favour of the Blues. Now only 3 metres out from the try line. Now Christie pops it up to Josh Fusitua after 15 phases in a row for the Blues. And like I said, the amount of attacking that we've seen from the Hurricanes, if the Blues are the first side to score, here comes Papali'i just short of the try line. There was a knock on. So they'll go back for the original penalty. It's Jordan playing, says Spazza. And Hamish, can you please tell everyone that Will Jordan is not on? He's on the Crusades. At this point, I don't know. He'll be the halfback with Cam. And whereas Ruth, she must be hiding. I think it's time zones as well. Haven't been that flattering for her in terms of these matches. Like, it's only 8:34 a.m. in South Africa. We will get to see her, I would think, later on the streams, though. Will Jordan is on the field, says Broncos. We have got there Bowden Barrett from Demon the 11th. 115 matches for Patrick Tuipulotu. Right, shot is called at the post, so they will take on another 3. Is Kerwin playing, says an Elite. I assume he was in the commentary box beforehand. Maybe on the panel. Not sure what he'd say about this game so far. Now Bowden looking to add the extras for the Blues. It does go over and they will be leading again. 6 points to 3. And Paddy's down, says Stuart Moore, and Ruben Love's on the subs. I want Jacob Ratamaitavuki Netkins and Fakatava back already. And Will Jordan is currently playing with Scott Robertson to secure the black jersey, so definitely not playing on the field, says Jason. And Richie Moonga playing, says Dazza. I think he wishes he was. He's made it very clear since going to Japan that he doesn't actually, or he wants to play for the ABs. Yeah, Richie's playing and Kerwin. They're all on the field. 22 metres out from the line. Finley Christie. Go back across to Marcel Renata. 12.5 minutes remaining. Be a chance for Finley Christie. So towards the touchline, and it is a very good clearing kick. Riley Hohepa decides against going quickly with it. Angus Gardner just saying if that ball is out like it was there, they are able to go round the side. Christie just getting a little bit of a warning there. I also mentioned in the women's sevens at the moment, ladies and gents, 5-0 to France. So they will be playing Fiji a little bit later on, and that will probably more than likely determine who goes through to the semi-finals. Nathan Cleary playing, says Daza. Now going off to the right-hand side, Riley Hohepa. Roy Gard. Hurricanes, this will be frustrating. Chat has been weird tonight, says Gary. I think it's because there's no tries scored. And normally when no tries are being scored, people's brains wander, which I think we're seeing here. Just because they're waiting for some sort of moment. But we just haven't had it yet. We've had 29 minutes of competitive rugby that neither side have really had huge massive chances. Oh, big shot from Balin Sullivan on Corey Evans. Bit of a counter-ruck coming from the Canes as well. Area run someone like to the Kiwi lads, says Chad. And says Broncos for life. Now Finley Christie back into the pocket to Bowden Barrett. Sink the slipper into it down the middle. Ruben Love. Sit in 15 metres. Oh, that was an ugly landing Who was that? I think that was Kurt Eklund who tried to go higher, and pretty much Ruben Love got chopped out from underneath him, so he slapped the ground extremely hard. And up the cane says Wade. There's another advantage. Riley Hoipa going off to Kini Naholo now. Kicking in behind, and it will go into the 22 of the Blues. They'll go back for the original penalty advantage, though. And that's going to be for the high shot from Kurt Eklund. Who's the All Blacks back coach? I'm not sure. It was Leon McDonald at one point, wasn't it? Or he was at least helping out, and then he went to the Aussies for a little bit up the Blues, says Marlon. And someone please score. It looks like they are going to be... Oh, Riley Hoipa standing on his teammates' ankle. We've seen 4 of the last 5 penalties have gone against the Blues. 30 minutes in, no one has crossed the try line. Gardner is missing the high tackles on our Blues, says Kiwi Rob. Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to miss this one of Kurt Eklund. Hit him right in the jawline. Landed awkwardly for his troubles as well. Was dipping down, and yeah, a really awkward landing for Kurt Eklund. Do I try now? Says Silaria. But now, chance here for Safwa Moore. The All Blacks coach is Hamish from the Kiwi Lads. I hope they start paying me if that's the case. Although I should probably start doing some work for them. That's going to be a nice rolling maul. Is it over this time? Referee says yes. And Braden Yossi will pop up with it. They'll probably check it just in case. But we will see. Over there, Tricane says, Jad, the AB's 4-pack. We won the group 2. Sophomore, Lomax, Barrett. T, I assume is Tui Pilotu. Blackadder, Savia, Wallace, Atiti. And what is Scott McLeod doing these days and come on the Blues? Says Polo. But that is going to be just over the line. It was marginal. It was very close, but they do drive over in the end. Now Riley Hoy, but this is the type of kick that needs to go over if you're the Hurricanes. Just to keep that impact, keep that momentum going. Damn light's gone out on the cricket. Oh, see, I didn't realise that's what they meant when they said it before. I thought that they were just saying, like, lights out as in, like, the game's going to be over very soon. But how dark is it at the game? We'll have a quick look. Just while we have got a bit of a stoppage there while they get back to the halfway line. Watch from live. Okay, now the lights look like they're back now, and it looks like they've just come back to a wicket of Jacob Duffy, which is ideal for the Black Caps. Nicely taken by Isaiah Walker Leowiri. Are you going to do another stream tonight? Maybe even the West Tigers versus Broncos. Says Broncos for life. We are going to be doing more sevens. France versus Kenya is the next game. That is at 9 p.m, so an hour, 20 minutes time. Alongside that, we've also got Fiji versus USA, Argentina versus South Africa, New Zealand versus Fiji, and then some of the Champions Cup. So a few things on. Now Hoskins sit 2-2 around the halfway line, tackled by Isaiah Walker Leowiri. Now Christie will roll this one back. The score 10-6 though, in favour of the Hurricanes. Finley Christie down towards the 22. Nicely taken by Riley Hoipa. Nicely taken by Bowden Barrett. Corey Evans goes straight up the middle. Please start doing the NRL streams again. I would like to, but also with the amount of overlaps that the NRL has, it makes it very difficult. Because I also wouldn't just want to do like one game a weekend, because then I feel like I'm kind of shortchanging you guys. Now, Peter Umaga Jensen, they decided to take that one quickly after winning the penalty there, the Hurricanes. When is your latest game tonight? Latest game will finish at about 4 a.m, I think. Hours at released. Here's Kiwi Rob. Okay, Papa Lee has been penalised for missing the first time, then having another crack at it. in the breakdown. What's the most underrated Super Rugby team in your opinion? At the moment, you'd have to say probably Moana Pacifica. What they've been able to do just in this season. So this time, they will aim for the 3 points here. Oh yeah, a bit unlucky there for Dalton Papali'i. Now Hohepa with only 5 minutes remaining now. Currently sitting 2 from 3 today. Garner is a bad referee. Says Kiwi Rob. How's cricket today? The cricket season has finished. So no more games for myself. And that kick has gone over. Now making the score 13 points to 6. 7 points difference. Very bad referee. Says Polo RT. I say the 4th. Says Demon the 11th. Tonight is make or break time for the Blues and the Highlanders, says Jason. Yeah, very important points on the line here. What a take that is from Caleb Clark, managing to retain the ball for the Blues off the kickoff. Marcel Renata. Why didn't you stream Moana Pacifica versus the Tars, says Broncos? That's a good question. Originally, I thought I was going to have some later games of Champions Cup and whatnot, which we may still, so I decided I wanted to sleep in a bit later. So I ended up doing pretty much an all-nighter last night up through till about 7 a.m. and then slept till just before, well, actually a bit before Fiji and Roa versus Crusaders. 10 metres out from the line now, pick and go chance. Corey Evans got another penalty advantage in favour of the Blues. Marcel Renata, good tackle made on him by Numia. Because Hamish needs a life offline, says Jason. Although I don't normally get much of one, to be fair. But it's going to go back 5 metres out from the line. This is the chance now for the Blues to answer back with their first try. Game ripped by referee, says Spider Mick. Blues and Crusaders are too overrated, says Chad. Okay, Angus Gardner just telling Asafo Moa and Xavier Numia, I want to see you guys rapping. Where's the warning for the Canes? It was just there. He literally just said to Asafo Moa and Xavier Numia, I want to see you guys rapping, as that was what the penalty was for. Looks like Hoskins Atutu's got the ball in hand. Are they just going to go with a quick tap here? Looks like it. Taps it. Passes off to Kurt Eklund. Only got 2.5 minutes remaining in this first half. Oh, Angus Gardner has to get out of the almost. Ended up getting cleaned up. Ball's now available. Round the side, Josh Berry within a metre. That ball's going to be hard to find. And it's over this time for the Blues. What's the point? 6-13. It is indeed, although now it becomes 11-13 with that try being scored. Try Blues, says Chad. And it should be an easy enough kick to make it 13-13, possibly going into half time. Renata gets his 3rd of the season. Let's go Blues, says James. Just really well done by the Blues. Keeping low, cricket over. CS took 5, says Spider Mick, and good on you Blues. Or come on you Blues, says Gary there. And we got a super sticker from Jason. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated for your generosity. 90 seconds remaining in this contest. Who won the cricket? So New Zealand managed to get themselves the victory there. And let's go the Blues, says Matthew. 13 all with 1 minute 20 left. Clean sweep in the cricket and the ODIs, says Kiwi Rob. That is a massive picture of Caleb Clark's head. I always wonder where people get those. Do they sell them at the game or do you have to print them out yourself? I assume they've got them at the game. Yes, up the Black Caps, says Chad. And now 1 minute 15 remaining on the clock. Ruben Love will kick this one off long. into Blues territory inside of their 22. Bowden Barrett was back for it. I want a Ruben Love cut out head, says Chad there. It's a good kick from Bowden, gets it back towards the halfway line. Now, both of these sides are in the position of maybe you can get yourself a couple more points before the end of the half, or you just go in happy enough. Black Ferns coming up, says Nov Mum. Yeah, they're not too far away, are they? They're playing China at 7:32. Now, of course, all the games have been slightly delayed due to what happened in that South Africa versus Great Britain game. Finley Christie goes across to Mark Talia. It's going to be held up by Isaiah Walker, Leo Whitty. New Zealand just beat Pakistan for a 3-0 whitewash. I challenge others to donate also to show support and appreciation to Hamish and all his fine work. Says Jason. Thank you very much for your kind words there, Jason. I think hands down in the breakdown from the Hurricanes, so they pull out of it. Hoskins Tutu goes across to Josh Fusitua. Segner finds the offloader. Josh Berry, some great pace shown by him to move to only 10 metres out from the line. Finley Christie put under pressure from Peter Larkite. There is the halftime siren. So Tutu tackled early by Tyrell Lomax. And now close to the line. It's going to become a maul. It's gone down. That's going to be hard to get the ball out. The Hurricanes defend it. And it will be halftime now. Sitting 40 minutes in, of course. And 13 all between these teams. I feel like the second half will definitely heat up more than the first. Women's second half, France 7 to France 7's France 17-0 over Ireland. In there. That the Black Cats won in New Zealand and with half an All Black backline, whereas all the tries, because ABs need to change it up, that's why, says Shane. Halftime in this contest, and we've only seen the 2 tries being scored so far. Marcel Renata getting the one for the Blues, and for the Hurricanes, it was Braden Yossi. So actually both the number, I almost said both the number 6s, but both forwards. Gardner needs his eyes checked, says Kiwi Rob. We need to try Canes, says Chad there as well. But we will have a quick look at the 7s while we're at halftime, just to work out how far behind they are actually delayed at the moment. Of course, still plenty more matches to take place. France versus Kenya, that one will be starting at 9 p.m. New Zealand time. We are going to be doing that one pretty much straight after this contest, so be sure to stick around. Following that, we've got Argentina versus South Africa. That is at 9:44 p.m. New Zealand time. USA versus Fiji is the game to follow that one. And then later on tonight, we've got the matchup between New Zealand and Fiji as well. We might even end up doing Argentina-Great Britain now that that match will mean a lot more, depending on what happens with Argentina versus South Africa. However, they're very fun to watch if you can't watch, says Jad. Do appreciate that. Currently, the New Zealand side are taking on China in the women's 7s. Now, it is a shortened format in Singapore, which does mean we will be live all throughout tomorrow as well with semi-finals and whatnot. So anyone who is new, be sure, of course, to subscribe if you love your 7s. In terms of the semi-finals, they are going to be taking place at 6:07 p.m. for the women's games, and then the men's semi-finals will be happening at 6:34 p.m. tomorrow. Also, throughout the night, we will have Sharks versus Lyon in the 7s. In the Challenge Cup. Smoko time for a puff on the Magic Dragon, says Matthew. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of impact these benches for these two sides will end up having. Just looking through, this is how they sit for the Hurricanes. They've got Devery, Pauli, Dekati Stones, and Pasilio Tossi, Will Tucker, Brad Shields, Iritana, Enery, Harkin, and Whitina Norfo. And for the Blues, Ricky Riccatelli, Tapia, and Angus Tarval as the front row replacements. Suafor, Choate, Nock, Taili, and Stephen Perafeta as the last man in the side as well. But we've only seen the 2 tries. Both of these sides staying competitive throughout that first half. You just wonder whether or not it's going to be one big decision or one big break that completely opens up this contest. We've seen a fair share of handling errors, quite a few penalties as well against both of these teams. If we are to look at what is to come for the Blues, they have got their game next week up against Moana Pacifica, a bit of an earlier kickoff for them in that contest. Crusaders versus Blues the week after, and then they will be playing up against the Reds in 20 days' time. Then for the Hurricanes, they've got 3 big games back-to-back, and the reason I say they're big is because those Australian matches, if they can win those 2, they will move their way much closer to a playoff game. They've got the Crusaders next week, though, and after a big win over the draw in Fiji, the Satyrs will be feeling confident heading into that match. And Jack, we have got there, should be a Super Rugby 7, so it would be quite cool if it was a part of a pre-season type of competition. Sky would be there, not here, says Shane. We got the second half is always good as the coach gets up the boys, says one Newts. And also, selection suggests they will be concentrating only on the URC, says Robert. Yeah, there are 3 sides in the Challenge Cup, or in fact only 2 now. Bayonne are going to be taking on the Bulls. We won't be covering that game because of the 7s overlaps, but we are hoping to cover Sharks versus Leon tomorrow. And who knows, maybe they will be the only South African side in the Challenge Cup by that point. Maybe they can go back-to-back. It'll be pretty impressive, but there will be a tough game up against Leon in France. Let's go the Canes, says Moa Hunters. If Super Rugby wasn't a thing, be the biggest club competition, says Chad. New Zealand currently leading 7-0 with 2 minutes remaining in this contest. China's defence looking relatively strong for a side who are ranked 10th in the overall standings, but people are expecting New Zealand versus Australia to be a match down the line. We look there, Kiwi Rob, go start up a YouTube channel, make a donation. Says Blues Nate. He's right though, Kiwi Rob, not fair lad, says the Blues Nate in there as well. We over there, the old Super Rugby 10s was a great addition. Says Jay Sinner, Super Rugby wasn't a thing. What will be the biggest club competition? Probably the ones that are overseas. Like URC is still, I think, bigger than Super Rugby numbers-wise. Gallagher Premiership does quite well, and the top 14 is huge in France. If Sharks can win their Bok players, may not get their places back, says Robert. We have got there, you can tell I'm high if my text or spelling all jumbled up. Stop camping on here, glad. Kiwi Rob catch up. Says the Blues, Nate. But 274 tries for Michaela Brake in the women's 7 side of things. New Zealand now leading 12-0. I will mention we are currently at halftime between these 2 sides. We're seeing 2 tries scored. One for Braden Yossi and one for Marcel Renata. So not a huge amount of try scoring action throughout that first half. Some decent runs. A lot of defending for both sides, if we're being honest. Hardly seen Caleb Clark with the ball. Hardly seen Kenny Naholo get his hands on the possession. P2 Munga Jensen had a relatively busy half. Same with Ruben Love. And then also for the Blues, I would say the busiest player out there, Josh Berry's probably not a mile away from it. Bowden's had a couple touches. But not a huge amount happening in terms of massive game-changing matches for certain players. Second half is not a mile away from taking place. Kenina Holo got some great tries versus the Waratahs. He did. A couple of them were a little bit easier than others, but he's still one of those guys that if you get him the ball, he'll at least make you meters. But we just haven't really seen it throughout this match, and that is due to some handling, but also a lot of penalties. Caleb Clark needs to step it up, otherwise he will be replaced by Caleb the Highlanders winger, the new one. Caleb Tungi Tau is the man you are thinking of, man from the 7th Circuit. Initially, Love Ruben loves past a Kinney, says Chad. Trying to just pass the ball straight into New Zealand's face. It was effective. A half-time in the 7s, and it's 12 points to 0 in that one. I believe this half only just started when we did pop away, which means we've probably got another, I'd say, 5 minutes till the second half does start up. But for anyone wondering about the matches that are taking place next week, this is how it does sit. Hurricanes versus Crusaders will be the first game of the round. We're already at round number 9. Waratahs versus Chiefs, Blues versus Moana Pacifica, Highlanders, Fijian draw, and the Reds taking on the Brumbies. So still plenty of action still remaining for this contest. Okay, Blues are the slightly more likely to win at the moment according to the odds. John R. Files just giving us all the rundown, saying whether or not it could open up. This seems like an important match. It's extremely crucial for these two sides. The Blues are sitting in 10th. The Hurricanes are sitting just outside of that top 6, but a win here would break them into it. I'm going to Hurricanes Crusaders at Sky Stadium. Says Chad. Renata has currently earned me more points than Roigard and Karifi combined in fantasy rugby team. Says Jason. And got a small function happening there soon, or here soon. I got to get working. See you all later. I hope your team wins. And what internationals are on the Blues team. So, All Blacks wise, they've got Patrick Tuipulotu, Dalton Papali'i. You could say Satutu from the past, but they also have Finley Christie, who you could argue. Bowden Barrett, Caleb Clark, Rico Ioane, Mark Talia. They're all the guys in the starting lineup. In comparison to the Hurricanes, who have got Asafo Moore from the past. You've got Lakai got his debut. Roigard and Ruben Love slightly. So a lot of guys that should be performing in that Blues starting lineup, but just haven't really been able to, at least in that first half. We have to wait and see how they manage to change it. I'm thinking about that bench again, and maybe, a couple little switches could be quite handy. Not sure whether or not they'll look at Perofeta yet for Evans, maybe a bit later on in the half. Taili wasn't awful in that midfield, so maybe he goes on for AJ Lamb, who I've hardly seen throughout this match. And then in terms of the forwards, I think Soafoa might not be a terrible option late. Probably for Segner. But yeah, a lot of decisions to be made by these two sides very soon. And Geordie Barrett, says Chad. And very close game. It's been a tight first half. Yeah, very close between these two teams. And, I think the Hurricanes would probably be the more disappointed about the scoreline from this first half. There was a time where the Blues were down to 14 men. Hurricanes had a lot of attacking chances, but they weren't able to capitalise. And a lot of the time coming up only a few metres short. Not a bad bench for both teams. Yeah, quite competitive, I'd say, later on in this game as well. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. See who puts it together. And I honestly do think there is a chance that both sides walk onto the field for the second half and just look like a whole different side than we saw in the first half, which would be ideal. That would mean we get to see plenty more exciting action. But our next game is taking place in an hour, ladies and gentlemen. And that is going to be the matchup taking place between the Kenyans and the French. Oh, yeah, I've got their Highlanders. We'll get 5 points versus Fiji, or Fijian draw next week at home. So a win tonight will get them back into the thick of it. Fingers crossed by semi-confident. But semi-confidence. What's the news on Eden Park Waterfront? In terms of the upgrade side of things, Cats and I haven't really heard too much about it in the last little while. But it'll be interesting to see what their plans are. Just showing another ad for KFC. We'll be able to have some dinner later on. It won't be KFC though. I believe they'll be closed by the time that I finish these streams. Plus, the nearest one is 30 minutes away. So that is a bit rough. Are we playing against South Africa, these Cats and L? If you're talking about we being Argentina, then yes. And that has taken place in an hour and 40 minutes time or so. So we'll be covering that one alongside the match earlier, which is Kenya versus France. Yeah, it will be interesting because the winner of that group with Argentina, so theoretically if Argentina go through, they will face either Fiji, New Zealand or USA. So it's going to be a tough one. And I would say at the moment it's either New Zealand or Fiji. So a big semi-final on the cards. Blackfern Sevens might just win this game. Well, they were leading quite comfortably when I last saw it. I assume that wouldn't have changed too much. Let's go the Canes, says Enzel. No Waterfront Stadium. They are investing in Eden Park, says Stuart Moore. Because when are they thinking about doing those renovations? Shoestring fries. It will be then. Maybe not shoestring. I might go crinkle cut today, but might be the only thing that I've got time to make in between streams. We've got just the 2 tries scored in this contest. Marcel Renata scoring 1, and then the other try was scored by Braden Yossi. Our vomit's too good to be true, says Katzenel, but a shortened competition might end up backfiring on the Argentine. It's down to government, says Kiwi Rob. I've got a crinkle cutter for some fries. Auckland Council has a review in place, says Stuart Moore. Both sides have also taken the 3-pointers when available at times. Bowden Barrett, 50-50 territory, 52% possession for the Blues. Tackles missed. We've seen 14 missed by the Hurricanes, but they've had to make an extra 30 than their opposition. 402 metres made by the Blues, 334 by the Hurricanes. So a lot of the stats are actually in favour of the Blues here. But the 9 penalties against them, that is definitely a big factor in this contest as to why they aren't in the lead. Hurricanes now making their way out of the tunnel. Duplessis Karifi will be hoping for a big second half. It was a big yawn as well. Do you think it is worrying for the ABs that New Zealand Super Rugby teams seem to be losing more to Aussie and Moana Pacifica? Not really. I think that Moana Pacifica have shown how classy of a side they are, and that when people underestimate them, they just show them exactly why they shouldn't. The Aussie sides, with the exception of the Highlanders, we haven't really seen too many New Zealand sides losing to Australian teams. I think the Highlanders have lost to the Brumbies and the Reds. Oh, it's gone out on the full from the Hurricanes. Have you tried the new rugby game demo that's out? Says Joseph. Which one are we talking, Joseph? Is it rugby? Wouldn't be rugby 25, is it? Is it the other kind of 2D game? Maybe. Monster Trucks at Forsyth Bar Stadium in September. Am tempted, but left it up to my daughter to make the decision, says Jason. And we have got the Hamish looking fantastic again, says Ruth. Welcome in, Ruth. Hope you are doing well. I hope you're excited for the later streams that we've got coming up. Now scrum feed on the halfway line. That was due to the Hurricanes kicking that ball out on the full right off the kickoff. Finley Christie ready to put the ball in. Now, Blues, I believe they are holding pretty strong, so they won't go anywhere. Finley Christie with a short ball to Rico Ioane. Manages to get through Cam Roygaard's attempt. Peanut Butter knows best. See a shame. Now, Lakai almost able to get that counter-up going. Berry with the no-look pass out to Corey Evans. Flicks it up to Tui Pelotu, who offloads again to Marcel Renata. Dalton Papali'i. Nice shifting of the ball to this right-hand side. Now again back to the right, Corey Evans. It's tackled down low. Christie going left off to Kurt Eklund. And thanks, Honey Hamish is addictive. Once you're hooked, says Ruth. It's going to be another penalty advantage in favour of this Blues side here. Okay, didn't make it back onside. Says Angus Gardner and donate a few dollars if able to. Says Jason there. It was ripped away. Still going to be play on. Mark Talia. When has he had the ball throughout that first up? I think that's almost his first carry. Back across to Josh Fusitoa. Only 20 metres out from the line here for the Blues. As Iwaka Leawiri looking for a counter. Couldn't get it. Oh, Yossi tackling the wrong man. Could have ended up penalised for that one. Let's go yellow, says Shane. Back across. Good defending at the moment. 13 phases and still playing under penalty advantage. Now they'll go back for the penalty again. Right, now is the decision. It's an easy kick for the Blues. You'll be able to take the 3 all day. Talio's an awesome winger, says TH. And take the 3, baby, says Polo. And lovely, getting ready for later games. Coke and strawberry flavoured gin. Also dried sausage, raw is delish, says Ruth. So Barrett. And probably, oh, he's rolling it back a little bit more. It's still 25 metres out though, so it's close enough. Bowden Barrett, he's only 13 points behind Mornay Stain to become second in the all-time point scorers for Super Rugby history. Dan Carter at the top of the bunch. He's still got a fair way to go to be able to get to him. Hello, Amish. Good to see you again. What's up? Says La Chica. Welcome in. We've been doing very well, and at the moment, very competitive game between these two sides by the Blues wearing Spider-Man. I think it's just because they can. Like, home game, maybe they were away from home for the Super Round. I can't quite remember, but that might be the reasoning behind it or something. Or maybe they're like going to auction off the jerseys after or something like that. My 17-year-old son had his first job interview at McDonald's today. Anyone ever worked for them, says Jason. Nicely taken by Bowden Barrett. Does put it off the side of the boot into touch. The Blues, they'll be pretty happy with the fact that they are leading at this stage of the contest. Still quite a wee way to go, though. Somebody please score another try. About 30 years ago I did, says No Mum. So it's probably changed a little bit since then, I would say. That wasn't the straightest line-out throw ever. But there was no competing coming from the Blues, which is why it is allowed. Now Cam Roigard back across to the left-hand side. Riley Hohepa skip past to a Safwa Moore. Brilliant low tackle made by Finley Christie. He put his boot into touch, but the boot was no longer attached to the body of a Safwa Moore. Riley Hohepa goes up to Isaiah Walker, Leo Whitty. Larkai, Papali trying to get the steal, but not quite able to. Hohepa goes across to Ruben Love, Natunani Punivai. Leaves the ball behind for Balin Sullivan. Thanks for sharing, guys. Says Alosina. And Garner got that wrong, says Kiwi Rob. And penalties. Amish, good clean game. Yeah, we've seen quite a few penalties coming throughout this contest. Ball pops out for Cam Roigard. Lakai pops it up to Braden Yossi. And see you Kane says Polo RT. Now Umanga Jensen. Managed just to make his way through. Hurricane says La Chica. Up to Braden Yossi. It's great phase play up to 10 in a row. Cam Roigard just leaves it for Xavier Numia. Now again, Natunani Punevai tried a bit of a kick. Little bit of a loose ball. I think Naholo might have knocked it on, but it's going to be play on for now. Now only about 10 metres out from the line. The Blues having to defend. Oh, that was a hard one. I think Tui Pelotu and Dalton Papali's heads just clashed as they made the tackle on Peter Lakai. And yeah, Papali looks a little bit wobbly now, but the penalty will go the way of the Blues. Marcel Renata able to get the steal. All your son has to remember is, would you like fries or a drink with that? Says TH. Canes win, moving up the ladder. Blues win, massive catch-up footy. Says Blues Nate there. And a possible Blues too strong. Now, Bowden Barrett, he will kick this one towards the sideline yet again. I feel like the Blues are improving, like Moana Pacifica says NZ Riot. I think the Hurricanes have a shot of winning. I think they're definitely in this match, but I don't think they're going to win it without, honestly, probably 2 more tries, or at least 2 more. I'll say without another 10 or 12 points, I don't think they'll win it. Like, I think they need to get towards 25 minimum to win this game. Mark Talia got tackled without the ball. Says Kiwi Roman, that ball's gone into touch, so now it will be the Hurricanes who have got themselves the line out. Auckland having a bit of a wrestle with him. Wasn't that long ago he actually got suspended for a suplex. That was 2 years, I believe. Hurricanes now getting shepherded along by the referee to hurry up. Now stolen by the Blues as they go to the back. The Canes, Kurt Eklund cleans it up. 25 metres out from their own line here. The Blues goes across to Josh Fusitua. And Penny Parker and Miles on the Blues bench. Says Blues Nate. Nicely taken by Kenny Naholo. Goes across to Ruben Love. He's going to try and run this one. Almost went through, but Satutu makes the one-on-one tackle. Roygaard with the pick and go off to Isaiah Walker Leowiri. 45 metres out now. Roygaard back across to Duplessis Karifi. Trying to get out of there was Josh Berry, but just had nowhere to go. Will be penalised again. Roygaard back across to Balin Sullivan. Ruben Love going to Natunani Punivai. So only 3 points separating these two sides. 16 points to 13 with 11 minutes remaining. Balin Sullivan off to Isaiah Walker Leowiri. Riley Hohepa offloads to a Moore. They'll go back for another penalty that was awarded earlier on. Just not rolling away was Kurt Eklund there. That's who's being penalised, so you can run around the back of your own players. Says Kiwi Rob. Exactly. Says Roof there. And Brazen nationality, Hemi. Or Braden nationality. He is a New Zealander. And gains to the corner. Looks like that is going to be the mindset. Kicking it towards about 20 metres out from the line. Talk about Ricky Riccatelli, how he was a late change due to an injury. Riley Oepa, good call, says Blues Nail. In fact, it's going to be about 30 metres out from the line. Braden Yossi has gone off. Brad Shields has made his way on. Throwing it in nicely, taking Cam Roygaard. Goes back across to Naholo. And having fun there, says Ruth. Oh, Naholo almost went for the pick and go around the side of the breakdown dam, says Blues Nate. 22 metres out. Roygaard, cross to Duplessis Karifi. Both sides have really improved their phase play throughout the second half. Naholo going off to the right to Duplessis Karifi. Satutu, brilliant skill in the breakdown. Manages to take it back, and now Bowden Barrett will kick it towards the sideline and does get it out towards the halfway. Morning, evening, mate. How's things? Says Flesh. Doing very well, mate. Hopefully you are also keeping well. Maybe excited for the Champions and Challenge Cup, I assume, for yourself. As there are plenty of matches coming up today. So I'll ask you the question, Flesh, and if you are excited for it, which game are you looking forward to the most? Whose side are you on? Says the What's Up Guys podcast. Neither. I'm pretty impartial for these Super Rugby matches. And that's the first half. Our team's tackling like demons right now. Same in the first. Little bit, although there were a few more missed tackles in there alongside a lot of penalties. I think the penalty count against the Blues was definitely the concern. 9 penalties against them throughout that first 40 minutes. Safar Moore throws it into Brad Shields. Karifi goes across to Peter Umanga Jensen. Next drive for the Blues. Says Polo RT. Safar Moore. Roygaard back into the pocket, goes to Riley Hohepa. And that was almost taken out in the air for Corey Evans, and a knock on from Balin Sullivan, although they're going back for the initial knock on from Kenny Naholo. Hamish, are you going to cover all New Zealand's games in the sevens? Sadly, not all of them, just because we had to miss their first game up against the USA. But, that's come off the face of Corey Evans. That's actually play on, I believe. I don't think he got a hand to it. But, so we've got New Zealand-Fiji later on tonight that we are going to be covering. And then their games tomorrow we're hopefully going to be able to do as well. Toulon versus Saris. That'll be a good match. Is Matanonu in the 23 for that one? I know that he made his grand return to the top 14. Hamish is on Will Jordan's side, of course, and crappy weather here in Melbourne. It's cold here, 18 degrees today. And next week it's supposed to be high 20s. And same choice from the Canes coaches to select Riley Higgins. An offload threat in the midfield opens up their attack so much more. Says Fleshin. And play on even. Says Blues Nate there too. Yeah, 28 minutes left, and these two sides, they will be starting to get a little bit fatigued. At the end of the day, it's been a frantic pace that they've had to cover throughout this match. Are you doing Glasgow Leicester? That could be fine. I really wanted to. But with when it happens time-wise, and with daylight saving as well, it's going to get a little bit confusing. But I think I'm going to end up watching that game before the Sevens tomorrow. It just wouldn't be on a live stream. But yeah, that could be a really good game. Two sides that are known for their strong attacks and rock-solid defenses. Like, it's just as likely to only be like 10 points to 7 or something in that game. High shot from Bowden Barrett on the Hurricanes, so they have got the advantage, and now they will go back for that penalty. More interested in Ospreys versus Scarlets tomorrow, says Fleshin. It's like I've been slightly disappointing this season. I wouldn't say so. I feel like he just hasn't had as many chances. Like, when you look at who they've gone with in their loose forward trio, a lot of the times early on anyway, it was Shields, Karefi, and Yossi. So, you know, he hasn't had a huge amount of game time this year. High tackle, says Blues Nate, certainly was. I think if you kick the ball away, it should be advantage over. Sometimes it is. In a knock-on scenario, it can be. But, yeah, in terms of normally for a penalty advantage, it's a bit more of a longer advantage, and you have to make sure you either make a whole heap of meters or you get the ball back after that big kick. Peter Larkai, another great playmaker. Says Ruth. Now Riley Hohepe has 20 seconds to line this kick up. Making the score, if it goes over, 16 points to 16. And the verdict is he's missed it. Riley Hohepe. It looks like the Blues are going to run this one out. Bowden Barrett kicks it downfield. Kanina Holo almost getting beaten by the bounce, but now he's got it and his grasp running up to the halfway line. Tackled low by Bowden Barrett. Karefi decides to run it himself at Patrick Tuipulotu. Little bit of a risk as Big Patty's normally decent in those breakdowns. A few. Says Blues Nate, little chick a bit behind, attempted and well cleaned up by Caleb Clark. And another man that we just haven't seen that much of throughout this contest. Bowden Barrett now going for the torpedo kick downfield. Well claimed again by Kanina Holo. He will go for the kick of his own. Normally you don't expect to see that from Naholo. What's doing the Singapore Sevens? Any ideas? Pumas again. Says Ruth. Yeah, I mean, Argentina are definitely going to be a hard side to beat. And that com, Natunani Punivai, now going to kick it down into the 22 of the Blues. At the moment, it is just a kicking battle. And that's a very good kick from Bowden Barrett. From his own 22, makes it to only maybe about 30 metres out from the opposition try line. Tonight he's had 11.60 metres made, 334 kicking metres for Bowden Barrett as well. Matthew eats some cheese crackers. Says Ruth, a nice work, Bodie. Says Blues neighbour. Now a soft one more, throws it in. And afternoon, Hamish, says Daniel. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Hope you're excited for Super Rugby in the Sevens. 24 minutes remaining. Cam Roygard puts it up extremely high. This is going to be a hard one to line up. Bowden Barrett does it like it was nothing. Stephen Perofeta. He's made his way onto the field for Corey Evans. Change that was bound to happen at some point. Caleb Clark shut down by Balin Sullivan. I'm going for those Pumas again, Hamish, French and Spanish. And Lou should win this game. The Hurricanes are not good finishes this season, says Demon. Yeah, I think the biggest factor is going to be that last 10 minutes, like you said. Who's going to be able to put it together more? Bowden Barrett, again, sends it up high. Nicely taken by Ruben Love. Roygard goes back across to Duplessis. Karefi, two-man tackle on him by Berry and Fusitua. And again, Roigard goes back into the pocket. There's been a lot of kicking in the second half. Taken by Stephen Perofeta. He will run it up towards the halfway line. Goes to Mark Talia. Great low tackle again by Xavier Numia. That's been one of the biggest problems for both of these sides when it comes to their attackers. They just haven't been able to break that line. There's been some sensational last-ditch efforts put in. Isaiah Walker Leowiti has managed to win the penalty for his side again. What was the Drawers Crusaders result? The Crusaders managed to win that game 33-14, I believe it was, in the end. So, bit of a late comeback from the draw, but nowhere near enough. I'm sure the Blues are happy to have Beauden Barrett back from injury. Yeah, he certainly added a lot more composure to this Blues backline at the moment. Garner's having a bad game. Says Kiwi Rob. That one doesn't look like it's going to find touch, and Beauden Barrett stops it from doing so. Now off the side of the boot, that is a fantastic kick again from Beauden Barrett. I don't think he's been rewarded as many metres as he feels he possibly should have. Raleigh Hoipa is so bad. His kicking leaves a lot to be desired, I will say. But 21 and a half minutes remaining. Barrett has flashes of brilliance. Oh, he won the cricket, by the way. Says NZ right. And now Jacob Devery. He will be throwing this ball in for the Hurricanes. It's gone over the top and nicely claimed by Isaiah Walker Leowiti. Around the halfway line. Roigard again will send this one to the sky. And nicely taken by Barrett. Getting a whole bit of a poor effort there with the tackle attempt. Anton Segner runs it forward. Isaiah Walker Leowiti again trying to go for the turnover. Which team you think is going to win, chat, says Elise? I think it's honestly probably quite 50-50 at the moment. I think that some feel that the Blues, because they've got that 3-point lead, have a bit more of a advantage and a chance. The Hurricanes, they're only one try away. That's a good take from Riley Hohepa. Almost ended up dropping the ball. Now going short side, Roigard after Kenny Naholo. Away to Pitu Munga Jensen. Couldn't quite get rid of Finley Christie. Roigard back across now to Devery. Now again off to the right-hand side. Duplessis Kreffi. Ball's come out the back. Roigard off to Ruben Love with some quick stepping. Moves up to 20 metres out. Just on the 22-metre line. Tossi offloads it up to Caleb Delaney. I don't get why the Hurricanes don't play Ruben Love at 10 if they don't have Godfrey. And just watch the Sevens ladies. New Zealand look tight in the first game. And that's going to be another penalty going against the Blues. Taken quickly by Peter Lakai, catching them off guard. Moves to only 5 metres out from the line. Roigard back across to Brad Shields. Pops it up to Pauli Dakity Stones. Karefi leaves it for the halfback. All rush defence from Clark. Ruben Love goes on the outside. And Natunani Punivai will score the try for the Canes. Their second of the match. Some heads-up thinking from Peter Lakai to decide to go for the quick tap. And yellow get up. Says Shane and tackle boys and Peter Lakai. Says Ruth. And there as well. Drawing with the Canes. We like kissing your bearded nan. Says TH. But nice pass from Ruben Love. Just made sure it went straight to Natunani Punivai. How's that on the mark? Says Kiwi Rob. I think he might have been behind it, which is why they said play on. Normally, as long as you're not in front of it, is the main one that they look at. And hurry up, Kane. Slam it, baby. Says Ruth. Lovely teamwork, says Ruth in there as well. But now chance for Riley Hohepa to extend the lead to 4. He's sitting 3 from 5 today, 60%. He doesn't like this side, though, and has continued to dislike it as he's missed that kick. Lovely assist there, says Studs Rays, keep it rolling. And yes, Kane says chatting up the wire, says Mr. Football. That's us boys back in there. The band that has the most controversial t-shirt out of any band. You should look at the t-shirt up on Google and surely take off Hohepa and put Love at 10. Says Freshman, a few more changes being made. Fihi Whenena Norfo has made his way on for the Hurricanes. Angus Ta'avao, of course, was already out there, but they are showing him again. It's been on for about 15 minutes at this point, but someone who hasn't is Mason Tupaia. He's just made his way on. Canes to payback. Says Rock, and that's going to be nicely claimed by Isaiah Walker, Leo Wiri. And Caleb Clark asking for the knock-on. Referee does not abide. 18 minutes remaining in this match. Peter Umaga Jensen might be waiting for this one. Oh, is the ball available? No. Ref says no. DeBont doesn't need t-shirt. Has great chest. Says Ruth. Kicked high by Cam Roygard here. And not quite taken cleanly by Stephen Perafeta. Yeah, what I was saying was Umaga Jensen off for Finian Norfo. Now the scrum feeder is going to be in favour of the Hurricanes. An unreal box kicks from Roygard. He's had a strong game out there. Yeah, just not able to get onto that one for Stephen Perafeta, dropping the ball forward. The Canes were offside, says Kiwi Rob. Looks like another change has been made now for the Blues. Suafa'a will make his way on for Patrick Tuipulotu. And also, I believe, 16, Kurt Eklund has gone off. Sounds like Rico Ioane's the on-field captain at the moment too. And kia ora, says kia ora Hamish, welcome in. Jeez Garner misses a lot, says Studs Rays, and there's so much talent on the field, both teams are brilliant. Says Ruth, and shot for goal. Now just showing the next game, Western Force versus Highlanders. They will be starting at 9:35 p.m. New Zealand time. We won't be covering that one though. We are going to be doing the sevens matches taking place during that period. Argentina versus South Africa, Fiji versus the USA. And then also later on, we have got the contest taking place between New Zealand and Fiji in the sevens and some Champions Cup, which we haven't scheduled as of yet, but we will be scheduling just a little bit later on. Just showing there, if the Hurricanes win, they will be right back in the running. Currently, possession and territory has both now gone in the favour of the Canes. Also seen over 100 carries for both of these teams. Handlinger is only 3, but the penalty count, 13 against the Blues, 5 against the Hurricanes, takes away, or honestly take away 50% of Blues box kicks, so they might be in the lead, says Knight Rider. It has been an awful lot of kicking. Mullen, he is the man who did replace Kurt Eklund, I should also clarify, when I said 16 has made his way on. But now Cam Roygard. Putting the ball in again. No advantage coming at scrum time. Hohepa goes off to Balin. Sullivan goes straight through. Has a passing option. Oh, he's going to run it himself and continues to make the meter, sitting about 15 metres out from the try line. Ball is there. And Peter Larkai will play hard, but that is a barnstorming run. First time he's played from pretty much the inside centre role and already manages to get those extra metres. Brad Shields with the pick and go. Wrestled down 10 metres out from the Blues try line. 16 minutes left as well, getting closer and closer to the end of this match. Peter Larkai picks the ball up with a pick and go. Peter Larkai again always there, says Ruth. Oh, and it's going to be dropped. It's a rough pass to Duplessis Karefi. Now chance here for a counter-attack from the Blues. Mark Talia pops it up to Stephen Perafeta. Oh, Talia jumping in over the breakdown. There's going to be play on. Anton Segner almost through. Can't get the offload away. But the Blues have already almost made their way back up to 40 metres out from their line. Kick downfield from Bowden Barrett again. Ruben Love, he will claim it within the 22. And puts the ball into touch. Full team boys, says Shane. This match could go either way, exactly right. Only 2 points separating them, so even if we see a penalty in the relatively near future for the Blues, they could take the lead off it. Flashing the one from 1993, says Matthew. Oh. Okay, Caleb Delaney is going to have to go off for an HIA. Tavatava Nawai back at 12 is a great boost for tonight. Appears all the chatter has died off since he was moved back to the wing. I feel he will be extreme tonight and restart that conversation. Yeah, we will be giving those updates about that game while covering the matches of the sevens. On the side, AJ Lamb with the pick and go. Almost turned into a rolling ball, but does get the grounding of the ball. Oh, rush defence from Peter Lacko. That looked like an awkward head-on-head encounter. Both men dipping. Not sure what will be made of that one. Balin Sullivan got friendly fire. He butted. Ambrose says John, and WTF says Markey. And also, if the Hurricanes win this, we would need a bonus point to get in the top 6. The penalty does go the way of the Blues. Okay, and Finley Christie straight away calling for them to check his head. So I think Papa Lee might not be that flash. I actually thought he took a little bit of a knock to his head earlier on, so this probably won't be much better. It looks like he wants to continue, but he stayed down a while. Right. Looks like the Blues are going to be opting for the 3-point option. This would give them the lead back in this match. It's less than 15 minutes remaining. That is the first penalty that has gone against the Hurricanes in the last 5. You ain't becoming a commentator, bruv. I would not want to be, bruv. We have got their Blues are having an identity crisis, says Knight Rider. And Waratahs and Force will be cheering hard for the Blues, says Hanoi. Currently sitting 4 from 4 for Beauden Barrett. This one is furthest out, 47 metres. A little bit of an angle, but he's been striking the ball very nicely. And it's gone over, which now makes the score 19 points to 18. So the Blues have taken the lead back with only the 13 minutes left. Sip your water. You know, hydration's kind of important. Fun fact. You don't drink, you die. We have got there, yeah, you wouldn't wear it to church. And also, you're pretty awesome, like Pink Floyd of commentary, says Roof. A nice kick, Beauden Barrett, says Hanoi. And the ref is telling his eye, Waka Leowiri, to stop. He keeps going keeps going. What is wrong with him? He's been a little bit lenient in some breakdown situation. Beauden Barrett's Nan would get it. If you're talking about the kick, I assume she's got a hefty boot on her, because 47 metres out is no joke for a grandma to be kicking the ball. Harkin, he has made his way onto the field. That is for Riley Hohepa. We don't need no education. We're just another brick in the wall, says Ruth. A little bit of Pink Floyd being quoted. Oh, Jacob Devery. Oh, that was close to Anton Segner. Almost able to get it through. How many minutes left? Still another 13 remaining in this one. Can we watch sevens now? Hamish says Blues Nate. I think there's almost a gap in the sevens just for now. Oh no, Australia woman playing up against Spain, 19-0. And then there's a bit of a gap until the next one. Oh, ball's gone through. It is knocked on by the Canes. My dad took it off me and burned it when I was 10. Says Matthew, can Lacko play 8 for the All Blacks? It'll be an interesting one because I don't think 8's his preferred position. Don't get me wrong, he goes well in that 8 jersey, but I think he prefers 7. So I think he'd go all right anywhere in that loose forward trio, to be fair. We're going to get to see our first scrum for quite some time. We've had a lot of free flow and play and a few penalties along the way too. Was the Barretts not with the Canes initially? That is correct. Well, two of them. I think Scott's always been a Crusader, hasn't he? Or did he have a stint at the Hurricanes? You're the best, Hamish. You know the difference between a Toge and Mapimpi, unlike Nisbo. Mapimpi, says Knight. And a big strong boy, says Ruth. Now 11 and a half minutes remaining here. That one is going to go down and penalty goes the way of the Blues again. It's going to be an interesting close to this match. 11 minutes left. Bonus point still in favour of the Hurricanes for the losing bonus point, that is. I think either way, these two sides are going to have a great chance at being able to get it. Definitely, darling, we want Canes to win, says Ruth. Now Mullen with an important line out here, but it was a big push from Ta'aval. Scoot always a cruiser, says Thuds Race. There's 15 Mapimmis on the field in Nisbo's eyes. See, Knight Rider. It's going to be thrown in over the top. Nicely taken. Now Hoskins, the 2 do their 22 metres out from the line. Are you doing the month's match today? I don't, or a penalty goes the way of Duplessis Karifi. And that is such an important turnover for the Hurricanes as the Blues had just got themselves some momentum. I'm technically sipping water. The ice cube's melting in my drink. Says NZ Riot. And really good game, says Anthony. Yeah, it's been really competitive throughout these 70 minutes so far. Like, that's the thing. Both of these sides definitely would say they've got things that they wanted to do better. But in terms of intenseness and little moments that could determine the game, it's had a few of those. Crusaders will beat the Canes next week, says Ange. To be fair, it's a bit much to let your 10-year-old wear that around town. And French Sevens also doing well. Few so much choice, says Ruth. Right, they've just said there, Eritara Inari is the only halfback to have 100% accuracy in Super Rugby at the moment. So, it could be handy. Oh, great run forward from Mullen. I think this time it might have been... Oh, no, it was Mullen. He does look similar to Berry, though, which is who the commentators did call him as. Poor leave Paul Nisbo alone. He scored more matches than you brush your teeth, says Shane. I bet the Hurricanes wouldn't object to Will Jordan playing tonight, but only for them and Karifi. And also, our team seems to struggle against Fiji or struggle after the Fijian trip. Did I hear you say Duplessis? Duplessis Karifi is the one you are thinking of. Now ball on the halfway line. Going to be rolled back by Finley Christie. Couldn't resist, sorry. Says Jason. Kicked high. Talia tries to slap it back, but I believe he's knocked it on. Yes, he has. So it will be another scrum for the Hurricanes. Last 9 minutes. 1 point still separating these two teams. Going to be a last-minute thriller. This looks like it will be an intense finish. Yeah, like no matter what has happened throughout the first 70 minutes of this game, the biggest thing is going to be that last 10 minutes. Duplessis Karifi. It's an Afrikaans name. It is. The Duplessis part is anyway, and that is because his dad played rugby up against, I can't remember which Duplessis it was, but he actually named him after the South African rugby player. You were on about Munster match, says Connor. Yeah, I don't know whether or not we'll end up covering that one. I think we're going to try and cover Leinster Harlequins, but I'm not sure if we're going to do Munster La Rochelle yet. As the Canes kicker good. He's missed 3, I think it is, for Riley Hohepa. So, yeah, I mean, the last kick of the game might be the deciding one. I think for the Hurricanes it would be Callum Harkin. Unless they've gone Ruben, maybe they'll go Ruben Love now. Okay, says Connor. But yeah, by that Leinster Harlequins match, we'll either have it scheduled or we won't. I think is the best way of putting it. Hurricanes finish it up. Says Wade. Going to be another big push there. And too much movement. Says Angus Gardner. So we'll have another reset. Hurricanes. I would say a try wins it for the Blues. Says Highlanders, and a try converted for the Blues would actually put the Hurricanes outside of a bonus point, which could be crucial when it comes to the Blues trying to catch up with the rest of the sides. They are currently ranked in 10th for the overall standings, but if we just go here and we have a quick look, if they were able to score themselves the win, they'd move up to 11 points. But if they stop the Hurricanes from getting the bonus point, it means that the Hurricanes wouldn't go up to 7th. Because if they do get the bonus point for being within 7 or win this game, they'll go up in the rankings. But now, Eritara Inari puts the ball in. Let's pass it straight into the hands of Balin Sullivan, who does miss the pass. Fihi Whenua Norfolk has to retreat and get back. Got Rico Ioane making the tackle on him, but they're only 25 metres out from the line. That Sullivan mishap has led to a lot of extra pressure coming on the Canes. Now Brad Shields, just outside of the 22, looks like Roygard. Sorry, not Roygard, Devery, in fact it was. Joining into that breakdown, Eritara Inari. Let's kick it high down towards the halfway line. The closest game of the weekend, says Matthew, and on how low these two teams on the table. Says Stud. So yeah, it's 10 versus 8 at the moment, I believe. It's a penalty advantage in favour of the Blues. Christie tries the little chip in behind. They'll go back for another penalty. This could give them a lead of 4 here. And that would put the pressure on the Canes. And it would pretty much say you have to score a try to beat us. Go for the 3, says Kiwi Rob. And Will Jordan scored 62 points in fantasy rugby. Good effort for earlier today. Not currently as rumoured, says Jason. They're taking on the shot. Bowden Barrett points to the post. Go the corner, milk the clock. Well, that's the thing. If they scored off a rolling maul try or something like that, they'd end up with an 8-point lead if they converted. This case, they end up with a 4-point lead, which does stop them from being able to get just a penalty to win the game here, the Hurricanes. They will instead have to score. Just read Karefi was named after Springbok captain, South African legend Morne du Plessis. Yep. And Blues vs Crusaders semi-final, says Ange. I should give the Hurricanes the wins, eh? Deserve it. And let's go the Blues, says Aaron's Trades. Currently sitting 100%. Do you have a very large TV, says Ed? No, I'm watching on a little, just a normal computer-sized monitor. And now Barrett strikes well, and he's missed. Wow. First miss of the day for Bowden Barrett, and what was probably the most important kick of the day. I'm not sold in those jerseys. I'm clearly from the wrong century, says Suds Race. And take the 3, kill the clock, and Bowden Barrett got the yips, says Hanoi, but now only 4.5 minutes remaining. Anyone think there's a chance of a draw? No chance whatsoever. Unless we had a converted try in fact, no. How will we even get to it? It would be very tricky, that's for sure. And ouch, says Jason. 22 line or goal line dropout. So it is a 22 dropout. So 2-2. Now running it up to the halfway line. Tackled hard and early. Redacity Stones couldn't quite get onto the ball. Josh Berry. So little time remaining. Oh, they're going to go for a kick here. With the up and under, time is running out. Nice. Oh, no, not taken nicely by Ruben Love. Ref says it is a knock on. And now scrum feed for the Blues with 4 minutes left. Game yard down to the wire, says Xander. So any shot at goal is important. And come on, Blues, you can win this. And a converted penalty or Blues try and a Canes try. A penalty, we get a draw, says Anoi. And Karefi time, I suggest, says Jason. But he's been pretty safe under the high ball all throughout this game, Ruben Love. But the one that he does drop might be at the most crucial time. Scrum Blues, says Kiwi Rob. That is correct. Bodie always a bad goal kicker. To be fair, he's kicked, 5 from 5 today or something along those lines. They've had 1 there and then, or 4 from 4 or whatever it was. So, he missed 1, but he's overall had a pretty decent day off the kick and tee. Getting closer to Mornay Stain. They become the 2nd highest scoring for points in Super Rugby history. But he needs a new pair of kicking boots. He's just missed the 1, ladies and gents. He did kick everything else over that the Blues have had a chance at in this game. That one's going to go down as a scrum reset, Canes fans. That feels you having right now, or that feeling you having right now, your season going down the toilet, says TH. And come on, Canes, get the Blues into depression zone. And also, I'm closing my legs, says Aging Trucking. And Jet be bullying Bowden Barrett, says Highlanders there. Highlanders will win by 2. Also, you're saying they're going to get a 3-pointer. Question is, who would have to take it? Would it be Love or would it be Harkin? Either way, 2.5 minutes left. Next game that we are covering on the channel, ladies and gents, will be at 9 p.m. And that is going to be Kenya versus France in the sevens. What a match, I guess, says NZ Riot. I've been told to use it again here. The Blues, 2 minutes remaining on the clock. It is now do or die for this Canes side. It's a 2-2 with the inside ball to Cameron Soa-Foa. Christie back across. Only the 2 minutes left. With the Blues winning, where they end up after this round, I think they'd still be about 9th. In fact, they wouldn't actually go up. They'd still be 10th at best. Now, Angus Ta'aval still on their side. 90 seconds left. That's still a long time to have possession. Definitely when they got that wrong. And the Hurricanes have got the turnover in the breakdown. An interception try coming. Sears Reuben come on the Canes. And now Sullivan can't break through. Rico Ioane to make the tackle. The ball is on the side of the Hurricanes, which means they will at least get one last chance. The crowd felt that one was forward. Iritana Inari. Back across Ruben Love now. Chance on the outside for Kenny Naholo. Has to cut in with Bowden Barrett with the physicality and drives him into touch. Man of the match performance, I think, from Bowden here. He has been outstanding with his kicks. Off the tee, he's only missed the one, but does just drive him towards the touchline alongside Talia. Impossible for Moana to get their first win against the Blues. Says Blues Nate. But now 30 seconds left here. Blues have been great all this half. And a free win, says Polo. They secure it. 25 seconds left. Segner saying he was caught high. Are they going to go back to check it, I wonder, or is it just going to be play on? 15 seconds remaining. This is so crucial for the Blues season. They had to get back on the winning track. Still one more phase. Finley Christie told to use it. They missed the clean out. And the Hurricanes almost ended up with that ball. Christie asking about the clock. They kick it out and they win it by 1 at Eden Park. And the Blues, after a 3 or 4 match losing streak, get their season back in the right direction. And Barrett, your 10 All Blacks, says Shane. Thank you very much. Great coverage. Says Ed, go the Canes. Says Button, come on. Says Islanders. And Blues, you're the GOAT. Says Apollo. But Bowden Barrett, you got to say, one of the main reasons that the Blues have been able to get in the right direction here when it's the Sevens. Next game of the Sevens will be taking place in 10 minutes. Barrett is already a legend of the game, similarly a supplying player. And send you back to the Cape Town. And also we have got there another great call. Thanks again, Hamish, says Gary. And one-pointer becoming a thing in footy nowadays. And Garnet Timo, Mr. Blatant. Forward pass, says Kiwi Rob. That is true, although they did just continue playing and eventually worked it towards a line out. And the Blues won it anyway. And give us your Landers prediction score. No idea, to be honest. I think the Highlanders and the Western Force will both get over 25 points, but I couldn't tell you who's going to win that one specifically. But nonetheless, 10 minutes time, ladies and gents. Then we're back for the Kenya versus the French game, which is just around the corner. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.